Welcome back to the Anxiety Slayer podcast. I'm Shan Vanderleek, and today I'm here with my wonderful friend and co-host, Ananga Sivyer. And we're offering suggestions to help children find relief from anxiety. We're going to dig into the best way that parents and caregivers can respond to an anxious child. We'll explore how parents can help kids stay calm in stressful situations, and how to help children to face their fears. Welcome back, Ananga.
Hey, Shan.
So glad we're having this conversation today. I think we begin by sharing that it's important to let the young ones know, to let our children know that worry is natural. It's a part of life.
Yeah, I used to suffer very strongly with anxiety as a child. And so as we're having this discussion, I can see 10-year-old me and remember what that felt like. And I think that is a really important thing, to reassure children that there's nothing wrong with them and that we can all feel worried sometimes, and not to make worry feel like a big monster that's lurking in the corner that's going to wreck everything, but a natural experience of life that we all worry sometimes. It's so important to allow time and space to hear them, even if their concerns might sound lightweight to an adult. It isn't to them, it's real to them. And it's so important to hear them with patience and kindness and let them know that they have support when they need it. I think for me, what I really needed to know was that I wasn't a problem, and I didn't have something terrible wrong with me that needed fixing, which was how I would often feel. And I think it's just so easy for a moment's impatience from a parent to do so much harm to a child that's already suffering with anxiety. So just to remember to be patient, to be kind, and take it from there.
And to remember that even though we want to fix everything and make life as easy and sweet as we can for our kids, we can't. We can't fix everything. But we can be there. We can let them know that we are there to support them. We can show up and give them some extra comfort, some extra love, and it will pay off incredibly. Once a child feels heard and they're allowed space and time to express whatever their worries are, whatever their feelings are, then you can move to the space of talking about support and solutions and things that they can do to help themselves. But by far, listening to them first is the most important thing. They need and deserve to be heard. They need us to be participating in active listening. There's nothing more important in that moment.
No, it's the most important thing. And that kind, slow acceptance where a child doesn't feel like they've got 10 minutes of your time and they're going to be hurried on to something else. Again, thinking back to my younger self, I needed time and reassurance. And there's ways of giving that where it doesn't mean the world has to stop. There's ways of integrating that care into family time and family routine. I think our kids need to feel close. They need to be held close when they're anxious. If we think about anxiety as adults and the sense of loss of connection that can bring, and really the feelings of it are much the same for children and adults, it's just that the context of it's different. You know, maybe to a child, adults worrying about mortgage repayments and stuff seems not in their area of reference too. You know, we've all got our areas in different stages of life that we can get concerned about, but that stomach churning, lightheaded, and so many other awful symptoms of anxiety can be there in our young ones and ourselves. So I think to remember what it feels like, and a hug, a walk, some careful listening, or some light-hearted conversation, just being there, being present, and that a child should never feel like they're a problem or they're taking up too much time or space or they need fixing, because that makes the whole thing feel 10 times worse.
There's nothing more beautiful than allowing a young one to be where they're at and to give them the space to move through it, knowing that they're safe and supported. Let's talk about some strategies that can help our young ones as they're struggling with anxiety.
One of the beautiful things about strategies that can help is they help us too. Anything that we're going to recommend that can help an anxious child can help a stressed out adult. So they can be really nice things to implement. They're not complex. They're not something you've got to learn or set a timer for or put on a chart. They can be very natural, brought into the day and into family time very sweetly, and everyone benefits from these things. So they're just good things to do in the family. Of course, the first one is breathing. Remembering that most people, when they're stressed, hold their breath, they get very tense. So to just teach your child to notice, are your shoulders tense and up around your ears? Are you clenching your mouth? Are you taking shallow breaths? Help them take a 5-breath break. Show them how to do it. Describe it in a way that's relatable to them according to their age. Maybe you want to describe them filling their belly with air like a balloon and puffing it out, whatever works for you, whatever's natural to your relationship with your child, and just doing that together, 5 deep breaths, and encouraging them to see how many times they can fit that into their day. Maybe traffic lights on the drive into school, or opening a laptop or a book, to use those things as cues to take 5 nice belly breaths and do it with them. Breathe with them, make it fun. Do things like imagine blowing the leaves off a tree or blowing a cloud along, whatever works, again, appropriate to their age, but they're easy things to bring into the day.
They are, and what a gift, because so many of our young ones are shallow breathing. They don't even know what it is to take a deep belly breath and how helpful that can be to their entire nervous system. I think it's also important to sit with our children and offer them calming physical reassurance. Just sit and be. This time and acceptance is key. And I know we mentioned this already, but it's just incredibly important to just be there for them, to let them spin out if that's what they need, to, again, listen, to snuggle up, and to let them know that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, physical connection's really important with anxiety. They might like a back rub or a hug, or sometimes kids really need to just lean in and be close when they're worried. And physical presence is really important for children with anxiety, for grounding, for security. It's the most valuable thing we can give.
There's a really supportive calming practice that you can do with your child as well. And it's called the 5 senses calming practice. And this practice helps draw attention to the present moment and environment. Doing this with an anxious child will help them feel calmer and also feel that they're safe with you to express their anxiety and to open to receive support. I'll walk through the exercise with you now. It's as simple as listing 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. It's almost miraculous how quickly this can help a child or an adult feel calmer. What's that all about?
It's just that using the senses to draw us into the present moment and be grounded. Anxiety often, even for children, they might be worrying about an exchange that might be coming up with a friend, a party coming up, a school day, something future-based, or just focusing in on sensations in their body that are anxious and they're not happy about, uncertainties that they're feeling. So this uses our senses to anchor us into the present moment. Many people use and recommend this for stopping anxiety attacks. So it's definitely a very effective thing to learn. And again, with kids, it can be a fun thing. When you get down to one thing you can taste at the end, you can run into the kitchen with them and grab a raspberry or an apple. What's your favorite fruit? And share it together. And it can be a really good break state from the grip of anxiety. It reminds me of family trips when you play, I don't know if you play this on your side of the pond, but in the UK, a lot of British people, when they get in a car, start playing I Spy. Do you have that?
We do.
Okay.
I spy with my little eye
That's the one.
something blue.
Yeah. My daughter just turned 25, but if we're on a long journey and I'm tired, she cranks into I Spy.
Yeah, I love that.
We have a real laugh doing it as well. It's always funny. So, to make it light and make it engaging and a game with the kid, 5 things they can see, 5 things you can see. Now you're going to spot 10 different things. You've got to spot 5 things differently each. So it becomes engaging, it becomes immersive, and it really works. A good thing to try. And they will soon learn that it helps them feel a bit better and a bit more calm, a bit more relaxed. So it's a good thing to do. You can end an anxious day with that at bedtime. See how it fits in with your family. There's one thing I will add here that's really super important is sometimes we help a child feel less anxious and we think we're done. But they may have another episode as they're going to bed or as they're facing a school morning, and we may expect to be off the hook because we helped them once. And the worst thing we can do at those times is lose patience. So it's really good to have some things to try, have some things to do, or just be ready to reassure if it flares again. And those of us as adults that struggle with anxiety know that it can and it does. So, just because we've done a lovely exercise or a warm bath or something and a child's feeling more relaxed, they may come back to you in a couple of hours and say, hey, I'm feeling a bit funny again. And we need to be ready to say, okay, I'm here. What do you need?
How do you feel and what do you need?
Yeah.
When we get back from a short break, we'll talk about some more ideas for anxiety relief for children. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Have you ever been in a place where you feel stuck and seem to focus on only the problems in your life instead of looking for solutions? What if you learned how to change your mindset? Partnering with a therapist can help you become a better problem solver, which makes it a lot easier to accomplish your goals. And therapy offers an avenue to help with anxiety, depression, and emotional healing. BetterHelp is an excellent offering if you're thinking of giving therapy a try. The experience is convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. And you can be matched with a therapist quite quickly after filling out a short online form. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help you get there. Visit betterhelp.com/slayer today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/slayer. One of the things that we can do to help children who are suffering with anxiety is to reassure them that this too shall pass, that the anxiety will pass, and that they will be okay. And helping them redirect their attention is one way to do this, to get their attention away from the anxiety by engaging their attention in an activity with you, like the one that we just walked through. For example, you can also take them for a walk, run them a warm bath, read them a story, ask them to help you with a project. Maybe it's baking in the kitchen, or maybe it's something fun like redecorating, or maybe it's coloring. All the things that we know to do for ourselves as adults work beautifully for our children as well.
Yeah, and the more ideas we have, the better. Before the break, we were sharing the point that a child may come back to you later in the day and feel that some anxiety's returned. So, if it's evening time and you've done everything you need to do for the day, then running them a bath or reading them a story, it's something that you can easily fit into a bedtime routine that doesn't feel too disruptive to what you're trying to settle into at the end of the day, but still gives them that comfort and reassurance. So the more varieties we have and the more creative we can be with anxiety support for children, the easier it's going to be for everyone. And even something as simple as taking them for a walk, you can bring the 5 senses practice into that. How many colors can they see? Leaves, flowers, so many beautiful things to see and hear, and make it a really immersive and mindful experience. And anxiety is such a head energy and a light energy. According to Ayurveda, which we often talk about on the podcast, anxiety is a very airy energy in the body. So getting a kid to jump in some puddles or play with some mud or get them out on the ground or do some playing with clay in the home, or that modeling clay, paper clay, anything like that, making something using their hands, those things are really therapeutic for anxiety, genuinely helpful, not just distracting, but immersing and using energies that balance anxiety out.
I love that. It's also important that we reward and encourage our children as much as we possibly can. Let anxious children know that you see how strong they are, that you see their courage, their good qualities and abilities. And then they know that they are so much more than their anxiety. They know that they're valued, they know that they're loved, and that no matter what they're struggling with, they have support.
Yeah. There's a lot of research by Gabor Mate. He's written many books, but he's the author of When the Body Says No, a really great study on stress. And he co-authored a book called Hold On to Your Kids. And he says that love felt by the parent doesn't automatically translate into love experienced by the child. So let them know. Let them know, I saw you be kind today, or I noticed you were really brave today, or you've really made a good effort with your homework today, or sometimes you make me laugh with the things you share, and I love it when you make me laugh, or you really notice things, or you were gentle with your brother. Whatever it is, give good feedback. We all like good feedback. We all need encouragement. Everyone needs encouragement, and children thrive on it. And another piece of research that Dr. Gabor Mate is sharing at the moment, it's doing the rounds as a short on social media at the moment, so you may have seen it. And it's research that shows women after having children, new mothers, and how much loving care and attention they're giving to their children. And the research shows that there is no such thing as too much love. And they tracked people throughout their lives and checked in on adults of 35 years old whose mothers were there for them to the point that others may have said it was a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
And those kids are thriving as adults. Those 35-year-olds are thriving. They're confident and they're doing well. So that's his research. There's no such thing as too much love. And just because we feel love for somebody doesn't automatically translate into them experiencing and feeling that love, especially children. So we need to take the time to validate them and to appreciate them. And you see what happens with a child when you do that. They blossom before your eyes. So kindness all the way, love and kindness all the way. And we can help them get through anxiety and know that we're there for them.
What a potent conversation. Thank you so much, Ananga. And thank you for all of you who continue to show up and listen to Anxiety Slayer. We appreciate you so much. My next interview for Anxiety Slayer is going to be with a parent coach. Her name is Sue DeCaro, and she is the host of a wonderful podcast, Conscious Parents, Thriving Kids. I've known Sue for years. I actually produced her podcast, and you are going to love this conversation. She is such an incredible person, and you'll come away with even more tips to help your children thrive. Did you know that you can get all of our guided relaxations and tapping sessions on our Patreon? Learn more at patreon.com/Anxiety Slayer.